was it worth it? Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your very first time visiting my channel, my name is Tenna and I'm a singer-songwriter from Mississauga, Canada. Today I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about something completely unrelated to music. When I started posting YouTube videos this year, I didn't really want to put myself in this box, and I just wanted to kind of talk about things that matter to me and just be real with you guys. And if I want to talk about an issue, I'm going to talk about it. So this is my Accutane journey, my Accutane story. It's not the greatest thing ever, it's not the most pleasant story, but it's real and it's true, and I feel like if I had seen videos going in great detail and in great depth about the drug, to this extent, I may have not gone on it, and it may have changed my decision. Yes, there are videos out there about Accutane, but I really wanted to make an in-depth video about the side effects, particularly the mental health side effects that come with this drug. So just to give you guys a bit of background, when I was in high school, I had, your average teenage acne, but I thought it was so bad and I wanted my skin to be absolutely perfect. So I went to my dermatologist and I tried every single prescription drug that you can try for Accutane, every single prescription cream as well. And none of them truly worked. They worked like to some degree, but I wanted perfect skin. And again, this was average teenage acne. Like, this was by no means cystic acne or horrible skin. And I feel like because around me, it seemed like everyone else had perfect skin, and I just felt like I had acne and no one else did. I just wanted my skin to look like my friend who had not one pimple in the month, So I had these kind of standards I wanted to achieve and things I was seeing around me that I just couldn't get without these medications. And so basically my dermatologist suggested that I go on birth control. And now I want to also talk about birth control in this video. My personal opinion on birth control is it really messes up the human body. Yes, it can prevent pregnancy, and of course there are benefits to it, and I really think it depends on the person's body. So if you're on birth control and it's working for you, that's great. But in my personal experience, birth control really messed up my body. And there actually has been scientific studies that have come out over the past couple years saying how birth control actually has a causal link to anxiety and depression. And at the end of the day, whether people choose to believe it or not, you are altering your hormones, and that can really change your mental health like crazy. Before you even know it, you're a different person. So basically, I got on this birth control pill, Yaz, and I was on it for around 7 years, and it was great. It kept my acne at bay. My skin was pretty close to perfect. I was really happy with my skin. And then slowly over time, after 7 years, I consistently would have 14-day periods during the month. And I was like, okay, I can't do this forever. This isn't normal to have a 14-day period. So I went to a doctor at my university and I was like, you know what? Can I switch birth control pills? Is this gonna mess up my acne? Because that's why I originally went on birth control, just to fix my acne. That was the main goal and the main purpose. And they were like, no, you know what? Most likely you'll be fine. It's all good. So they switched me to this birth control pill, DRYNESS. And again, disclaimer here, if those pills are working for you, that's great, but this is my personal experience and what happened to me. Almost right away when I switched over to DRYNESS, my mood completely changed. I felt super depressed, and I wasn't concerned because I knew it was because of this drastic hormonal change that I had been going through. I stopped Yaz, I went back on another birth control pill, basically I think maybe a month later or so. And I actually don't even remember if I fully got off Yaz and then went on DRYNESS or if I actually just switched. I think at that point I had just switched. Anyways, my mental health was obviously suffering. And then slowly but surely, I started to develop cystic acne right here along my jawline on my chin. And at this point, I had perfect skin prior to this. So you can only imagine how concerned I was. I was like, wow, my skin is going to basically. It's literally it's just not good. Like, this is really bad. My acne's it's going to be out of control. But then I thought, you know what? Let me stay on this for a couple more months and hopefully everything will level out and my acne will go back to normal, my cycle will go back to normal, and everything will be fine. So basically a couple months go by, my mood does not change whatsoever. I'm still feeling absolutely terrible. Then I talked to my doctor and she said, you know what, get off of it. So I got off of it. And then my skin just went absolutely ballistic. And a lot of people don't really know this. Obviously, you're not going to share this all over social media. And like, people used to actually comment on my pictures being like, your skin is so amazing. And I'm just sitting there thinking like, okay, first of all, I edited the out of my skin during that time period. Like, my skin was absolutely horrible. Not even just edited my skin, I just didn't take any pictures. Like, literally, I was so depressed and so embarrassed, and I felt awful, honestly. My skin just went absolutely ballistic. I had cystic acne all down my cheeks, even in the middle of my face. I'm gonna obviously insert pictures for you guys to see what it was like, because you're honestly not gonna believe it. It was insane. And more so even than the self-conscious feelings it gave me and the depression and all of that, it was so itchy and it was so inflamed. Like, it's crazy because you think, you know, when someone has a lot of acne, you think, oh, your skin's probably really oily. My skin was dry. It was like cystic acne, but my skin was dry and itchy, and oh my God, to this day, I can literally remember the feeling. It was absolutely awful. And I went to my dermatologist after all these years and I said, look at my skin. Like, what do I do? Like, yeah, and I knew she was gonna say to me, go on Accutane. Like, it is the only thing left. It is the only thing left to do. And I know there's a lot of different opinions online as well about like how food impacts your skin and all of that. I do believe there's some things obviously that you can do, like ways in which you can wash your face and your skin routine that can contribute to acne or lessen your acne. However, I am a strong believer that food does not affect your acne. If you speak to any doctor, all of the studies prove zero correlation in 2020 up until 2020. Like, there's been speculation that dairy can cause acne, other things can cause acne. Honestly, all of the studies point to the fact that it's completely unrelated. There's no causal correlation whatsoever. So I personally don't believe that. I believe my acne is 1000% hormonal. I think everyone's different. Like, if you notice you have one pimple after you eat chocolate, like something sugary, or you have a pimple the next day after you eat dairy, okay, fine. You don't have cystic acne. Okay, fine. You have a pimple. That's fine. Like, I think that's different. But when you have cystic acne and it's this bad, I think we've come to the point where we now know that it's not dairy. It's not the food you're eating. Like, most of the time it's either genetic, hormonal, and so forth. And I think a lot of people are like, why can't we cure acne? And, you know, why is it so hard? And it's because there's so many factors that cause acne. There's genetics, bacteria, hormones, like the list goes on, and it's very, very hard to deal with all these things and find a cure. It's really difficult. So basically what Accutane does is it acts on your oil glands. It basically kills the production of oil in your skin. It works on your sebaceous glands, and believe me, it dries out your entire body head to toe. So I started taking Accutane and I was like, you know what, this is my last option. Let's do it. Of course, when I talked to my dermatologist, she went over the side effects a bit. Like, she was like, you know what, it has been known in some cases to cause depression, but you know, it's not really like 100% like a causal link. It's just like, you know, maybe if you're predisposed to depression or predisposed to mental illness, this will happen to you. And I never really fully I think I never fully accepted the fact that I had already had anxiety and all these things. Also, like, in high school, I definitely already had anxiety. Like, I remember my palms would sweat and I had like some forms of social anxiety, which is interesting because I'm such an outgoing and social person. I feel like nobody really knew this about me. And basically, I never really thought I had any severe mental health issues. Like, I always thought that birth control was causing these issues for me, or something was causing it, because I just never really thought I was depressed or anxious. Like I never actually thought I had a mental illness. So to get right into the side effects, some of the very minor side effects are it just dries out your entire body head to toe. Like your lips will be dry, your scalp will be dry. Nobody ever mentioned that to me. The first week I was on Accutane, my scalp was so itchy and so dry. I came home from work one day and I poured oil on my head because I physically couldn't take it. Like I remember being in the movie theater and just scratching my head because it was so itchy and so dry. Like it was honestly awful. The dry lips, okay, fine. Like it wasn't that big of a deal. Another weird side effect that I noticed and a couple of my friends that went on Accutane noticed as well is it definitely makes your lips swell. Like it makes your lips bigger. Like I remember when I was on Accutane at first, and I'll insert some pictures for you guys as well so you guys can see what I'm talking about. My lips grew. Like it looked like I had lip injections. Like it was crazy how much they grew. And I swear part of me thinks ever since Accutane, my lips stayed bigger. And I don't know if my lips grew with age. I'm not really sure, but it was just like such a weird transition. Like if I show you my lips in like university before I went on Accutane, when I would smile or just even just sitting there, I had like no upper lip. So I don't know how all of a sudden I went from that to this. Like it was crazy, the difference. At least that's what I thought. Like that was the one thing I liked. I was like, okay, my lips are bigger. I look good. Like I wasn't upset about that for sure. But another weird side effect too is your joints are really sore. Like I remember every day when I would get out of bed, my ankles would hurt. Like I was literally a grandmother. Like I couldn't walk. Like my heels, my ankles, like it killed to just get out of bed and walk around. Another thing is, which I didn't find this a super big deal, but it is like an emotional or mental health side effect. Crying spells. And like say you're just like sitting at dinner with your family and someone brings up something like a baby, like something that you would never normally cry about, and you just start bawling, and it's like, okay, like clearly this isn't natural, like this isn't normal for me at all. It's just like such a random side effect. And also I think like a couple months into Accutane, I noticed my face started getting really red, and like I was told that would happen with dryness, that my face would get red. Okay, fine, like you're dry, you're red, that makes sense. But no one ever mentioned anything to me about social anxiety or like facial flushing, which it's very different to just have red skin because your skin is dry. But I noticed that like weird situations that would never have scared me before, never. Like when I said I had social anxiety in high school, I meant like when I had to speak in public, I was a little nervous, so my palms would get sweaty. Or I would see like my crush and like my palms would get sweaty. But I actually wasn't a blusher. Like in high school, even if I would see my crush or if I would see my crush in uni, I wasn't a blusher. Like, I don't know where all this blushing thing came from. Like, I really don't know. Well, I didn't at the time at least. And then I noticed that like I was scared to go to the grocery store or go to the gym, like totally normal things that never scared me before. And so I kind of started like avoiding doing these things, and it just became a cycle. Like I would try really hard to push myself to do them, but deep down, I didn't want to do it. Like it was so forced. I really had to force myself to do it to avoid this becoming a huge problem. And my face would just flush for no reason in front of people, like not my crush, not anything I was worried about or scared of. Like it was super weird. It was like every time I felt put on the spot, if you want to call it that, but like it was situations that weren't even nerve-wracking. Like if you ask me, like for example, I'm sitting at work and someone just comes and talks to me. How is that being put on the spot? Like that's social anxiety. Like there's absolutely no reason for me to be afraid to talk to people on a daily basis. And I almost felt that like one-on-one conversations would scare me. I have been off Accutane now for 2.5 years. And I can honestly tell you, to this day, my scalp is still itchy. Like every day I'm like, why is my scalp so itchy? My scalp is itchy. My skin is drier than it used to be. Like I would say it's not oily whatsoever. And I 150% in some situations still experience facial flushing for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Like it is just so bizarre. And yes, acne gave me depression and it made me feel horrible and self-conscious and it was itchy and there were so many things that I didn't like about it, and I'm so glad that it's gone. However, I don't necessarily think it was worth it because my mental health suffered so much. And like, I feel like I'm still getting over it. I'm still kind of dealing with it today. It's not gone. And sometimes my mom will be like, well, you've been off Accutane for 2.5 years. So how are you still experiencing side effects? Like, it doesn't make sense. And I'm like, well, Mom, what you don't understand is, do I have acne? No. So clearly it's still somehow working in my body. Like, it's changed something in my body. And if it's changed one thing in my body, it could have changed a couple things in my body. Like, I just definitely think that the side effects last. It's not something that goes away. One thing that didn't really happen to me is I never really lost hair, even though my scalp is dry. And I think the reason for that is because I had extremely greasy hair before, like so oily. Like, I would literally have to wash it every day. Even the day after I washed it, that morning, oily, already freaking oily. Like, it was so hard to maintain that. So now my hair's kind of normal. Like, I can almost like not wash it for 2 to 3 days, which for me is like crazy because I used to have to wash it every single day. Like, I could have almost washed it 2 times a day. That's how oily it was. So I feel like maybe that's why my hair never got thinner. I never lost any hair. My hair was just super oily to begin with. Like, that's my philosophy. That's my theory. I don't know how true it is. I have no idea. And not to mention the fact that after going through all this craziness, all these crazy side effects, like, this was a lot. This pill, like, it was a lot to deal with. I was on it for 6 months and the side effects lasted me afterwards and everything. The fact that my skin isn't absolutely flawless, it pisses me off. And yes, of course, looking at my skin now, I'm not going to sit here and complain. I have good skin now. Obviously, I'm not ashamed of my skin. I'm not embarrassed. I'm not self-conscious. I'm not depressed. Nothing of the sort. However, before my period and when I'm ovulating, I still break out. I still break out and I still get cystic acne. That pisses me off. After all that, after going through all that and still putting up with some of the side effects today, I still don't have absolutely flawless skin. It begs me to ask the question, was it worth it? Honestly, if I had to pick, I would honestly say no. I don't think it's worth it. I don't think sacrificing your mental health to that degree is worth it. And yes, it was more than just a looks thing and a physical acne thing for me. Like, a lot of it was making me feel depressed. It was making me feel self-conscious. So yeah, there was mental health side effects to begin with. However, the mental health side effects from Accutane, oh my God. If someone had told me that I was gonna develop severe social anxiety, I would have laughed in their face. I want to be a singer. Like, it just doesn't even make sense. I'm a Leo personality. I'm super outgoing. I've always had tons of friends. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It honestly doesn't add up that I would be so socially anxious and afraid of people. Like, I've always been super confident. It's so bizarre. Like, the two just don't mix well together. And I remember going to my dermatologist and being like, I feel a bit anxious. And she was like, oh, like her ears kind of perked up and that sounds like she's a cat or something. Like, I mean, she was like, oh, like, I think she seemed concerned and she's like, do you want to get off of it? And I was like, no, because I didn't realize the severity of what I was doing at that point. All I could think was, no, I have to stay on this pill because I need to cure my acne. So I'll put up with this. I'll deal with this. Like, I'm sure it'll all be fine. Lo and behold, social anxiety. And honestly, like, oh my God, even to this day, even saying it out loud, social anxiety, it makes me laugh. It literally makes me laugh. Like, I remember in university, I developed anxiety, but it very separate from social anxiety. Like, I developed panic attacks, and when I'm in times of extreme stress, like I'm going through a lot, I can wake up in the middle of the night having panic attacks. I can have panic attacks in the middle of the day, and I deal with that. Like, I've learned to manage that. That's my anxiety. Social anxiety, on the other hand, for me is completely separate. My social anxiety is like, it's gonna sound crazy, but every single day and every single action I do that involves other human beings, I push myself to do it. I push myself.
And you know why? Because I'm a pusher.
I push myself to go to the gym. I push myself to go places. I push myself to talk to people. and I do what I have to do. It's really hard for me sometimes. I'm definitely better with it now, and I think the more I do it, the more it's just like performing on a stage. The more you do it, the less scary it gets, and I feel like I am slowly overcoming it, but I would be lying if I told you it was not one of the hardest things I've had to do. So I just wanted to come on here and talk to you guys a bit about my Accutane journey, my Accutane story. Honestly, it was a rough ride, but I'm thankful at least that now I don't have acne to some extent, or, you know, it's way better than it was before. So I'm extremely thankful about that. And I'm learning to cope with the side effects every day. So before you go on Accutane, just make sure you really know the side effects. And just to let you guys know as well, I have a couple other friends that went on Accutane around the same time as I did, and they all have the same exact side effects. 3 very outgoing people who were never afraid of anything. Like, we were all like these, like, we had witty remarks to everything, super confident, super social. We all feel this exact same way. Our faces flush in random situations. We are nervous about things that never made us nervous. Like, it's super bizarre. And if you Google the side effects of Accutane, I do sometimes see like one pop up and it'll be like nervousness, but no one really talks about that. And the depression that comes also along with Accutane, I think we've all at some point in our lives felt depression, and I've never been medicated. I've never been diagnosed with depression. I have been diagnosed with a general anxiety disorder, but I've never been diagnosed with depression. I just feel that I've had periods in my life of depression when I was going through a rough time, when I experienced a loss, anything like that, which I think is quite normal. And I think that can trigger depression for some people, major depression that goes on for years, or sometimes not. But the depression that accompanies Accutane, it's a different type of depression. It's a loss of meaning on a level that it's very extreme. Like, I had never felt that much of a loss of meaning in my life until I went on Accutane. Like, and after Accutane, like, just this deep loss of meaning, which I think is super concerning. So if you're thinking of going on Accutane, just really weigh the pros and cons. Like, just understand that you might really regret it in the end, because it's super tough for me to say whether I regret it, just because, again, now I don't have acne, and now I don't have to deal with horrible skin, which really, it drove me insane, if I'm being honest. So I don't even know what the lesser of 2 evils here is. I'm just saying, like, make sure you weigh the pros and cons. If you have a terrible mental illness to begin with, or you already are predisposed to bad anxiety or depression, please do yourself a favor and stay away from this drug. It is so hard to overcome these side effects. There are other ways to deal with bad skin, and one thing that I do now as well is, actually, this is so random, like, I know dermatologists say to use Cetaphil and stuff, which we all hear that, like, and I personally agree with that. Like, I don't do anything to my skin that actually, like, cleanses it, other than I do a chemical peel every 2 weeks. Okay, fine. But I don't do exfoliation every day, or those crazy, like, really alcoholic kind of face cleansers or toners, because those really strip your skin of its natural oils. So what I do is I use Bioderma to get my makeup off, and I use a cotton pad, and I really wet it so it's not like drying my skin as I kind of rub my face with that cotton pad. And then at night I'll wash my face with Cetaphil, dry it, and put on moisturizer that's Bioderma as well. It's like an anti-redness, just regular face moisturizer. And then in the mornings, sometimes I'll just wet my face lightly, like dampen it, take a cotton pad with micellar water, the Bioderma one, and I'll just kind of get the dirt off my face from the night. Or I'll just wait until I go to the gym, because my face isn't oily when I wake up. So I'll wait, I'll go to the gym, I'll shower, and then I'll cleanse my face. I will never cleanse my face more than twice per day. And even my cleansing is very minimal. I found that personally, when I actually reduced the amount of things I did to my face, that's when my skin really started to thank me. In terms of my diet, I've always had a really healthy diet, I would say. Like, I always eat really healthy. As a general whole, I would say I eat 90% healthy, and I still do eat dairy. I do eat quite plant-based as of lately, more just because of health in general, the environment, and I feel like we're all moving towards a vegan diet kind of anyway. I will never label myself as vegan, but I'm just saying I still eat dairy. I've actually been incorporating yogurt more into my diet just because I have kind of been suffering from IBS lately, which is so awful. I do not wish it upon anyone. And yes, that is also an Accutane side effect. Awesome. Thanks, Accutane, for literally giving me so many side effects. Like, I've never had IBS until recently. And actually, one of my friends in uni also mentioned that she and her brother both got IBS after Accutane, so great. But anyways, I've been trying to eat yogurt because obviously probiotics, and I'm trying to fix that situation. Anyways, guys, that kind of wraps up my Accutane story. I just wanted to come on here, be super real with you guys, and kind of talk to you about what I went through, hopefully help some people, and that's basically it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to click the subscribe button if you like this video. If you want more videos like this, just thumbs up the video and comment below. Request any videos. If you guys want me to do more covers, literally let me know. I'm super open to anything. I'm gonna be posting more videos like this, more videos related to music. And I'm obviously gonna post the rest of my acoustic versions for my songs on my EP. So stay tuned for all of that. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Love you guys.